All right, what is going on, everybody? My name is Rodney Hunt. Welcome to the first ever DIY Solar podcast. I got a couple of special guests on here, but if you're already on the broadcast, just let me know if you can hear me and if you're having any problems with my audio. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me before I bring everybody else on. Make sure there's no technical issues. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest. All right, I got Eric from East Texas Homestead and Adam from Adam Delay on YouTube. Go ahead, guys. You can introduce yourself, Eric.
Yeah, like Rodney said, my name is Eric. I'm with East Texas Homestead, and we are a homesteading channel that we just basically work on self-reliance, independence, self-sufficiency, do a little gardening. We've got goats, we've got chickens, we've got all that stuff, gardening. We spend a lot of off-grid solar and stuff like that. So excited to be here, Rodney. Thanks for putting this together.
Hey, thanks for being here. All right, Adam, go ahead and introduce yourself to the guys
Howdy,
and
folks.
gals, I
Adam
guess.
Delay from, yeah, make sure you get that right, guys and gals. Howdy, folks. Adam Delay from a very unique channel, Adam Delay. Haven't quite figured out a name yet for it, but I go through and I guess try to look at different options and ways I can take my home off grid, and in the process go through testing different devices, try to answer common questions that folks might struggle with, or different ways to make changes to your system to help improve your off-grid living.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with that. Let's go ahead and welcome a couple of people that's in the chat. John and Henderson, welcome to the chat. How you guys doing? We're going to go ahead and jump into a few questions. If you guys have any questions out there, go ahead and put that down in the comments, and we'll try to help you out and answer that. If you're trying to build a DIY solar system, we all got to start somewhere. You might not know everything, and between us three, we should be able to help you out. So if you got comments, leave that down. You got questions, leave it down in the comments. And we're going to go ahead and start out with a couple of my questions, I guess. And number one, why did you decide to go DIY solar? We'll go ahead and start with Eric or Adam, whoever wants to start.
I started with the intro. Go ahead, Adam.
All right. So about 7 or 8 years ago, my family bought a outdoor wood boiler to take care of our domestic heat and domestic hot water, and that burns wood so that we don't have to utilize electricity, or more expensively, propane that we've been using to heat our house in the Michigan winters. And we don't have electric, or we don't have propane stove. We don't have a propane dryer. So the only thing propane in our house is our furnace. So I had this giant 500-gallon propane tank sitting out in the backyard. And I was trying to figure out, how do I use this? Because I don't want to get rid of it. There might still be some use for it, but what do I do so that it's not just sitting there? So I started researching the whole home generator aspect and saw how expensive those can be. And then I started realizing you're never really going to get a return on investment for a whole home generator unless you're living in a place where you losing power every other day, which maybe 3 or 4 times a year I lose power. So it just didn't make financial sense. And I thought there's got to be something out there that would allow me to save money on a daily basis and get a faster return on investment, and help me become a little more independent at the same time. And that's kind of what got me started in the solar aspect. Like most people, I started with a tiny little 12-volt system, power on a few lights in the barn. Then you start doing the Frankenstein extension cords running all over the place to power this, that, the other thing. You get the crazy looks from the wife as she's tripping over extension cords.
Oh
But
man.
after that first power outage, when we had that 12-volt system, all of a sudden she's like, this might be worth looking into a little more. and things have progressed from there.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with that. And yeah, we all start. My wife says I'm like a mad scientist sometimes. All the stuff I do and have cords and stuff going everywhere. So I definitely understand that. Okay, I guess the same question for Eric. What got you started in DIY solar?
Yeah, great question. I started off, I guess, with my very first system, and I don't know
Oh
if
yeah,
you
let me
can
show
pull
you.
it up
I got
on your
pictures of
screen
that too.
here. Yeah, so back in 2011, I believe it is, and put in the chat if you guys know who Stephen Harris is. But this is a Stephen
Yes,
Harris
I know who that
battery
is.
bank. Yeah, there you go, Rodney. So this is Stephen Harris style whole home, or not whole home, but battery bank. Here we go. So basically, we have two 12-volt batteries, a Schumacher inverter or charger, and a little Cobra. Actually, I still have it. Uh, this Cobra 800-watt inverter here, and this thing's still going. And that was my first time to dabble in all of this, and it paid off pretty almost immediately. Just running box fans and lights and stuff like that when our power would go out.
Oh yeah.
But then we moved out here into the country, deep East Texas, and once we were out here, we actually didn't have that many power outages, but we had a generator, and we thought we were prepared. I've always been in preparedness, like Rodney, and I suspect like Adam. And so eventually, we had the 2022 snowpocalypse that came through here, and the power was out for, I think it was 5 days for us, while at the same time it was sub-freezing temperatures. And basically, we started having all of our goats give birth and die, and the
Mm.
rabbits the same. Like we couldn't keep everything alive. We rely on a deep well pump with a massive pump on it, so we couldn't keep that going. The generator broke the very first day. Went out there, started it. The fuel line snapped right off.
That
So
always happens
um,
when you need it.
yeah, right. Exactly. So I guess the aluminum was so brittle it just popped right off, and it wasn't something that I could kind of jerry rig. So anyway, we ended up having a lot of freezing pipes and stuff like that, and then no water, no electricity. Eventually got a generator during that storm, and we got through the other end, and we decided we're never going to be like that again. We're going to make sure that we have this figured out. So I went on a journey to try to figure out how we could basically power the well pump. That was the first thing. It's like, how can we actually get water during this? And that led me to, I guess, back around to batteries, because we can get the energy that we needed quickly. So started that up and started researching. I reached out to local installers and realized that I didn't have enough money to get any of that stuff installed, and the payback just was not going to be, well, I don't know if it ever come around. So just it didn't make sense on paper. The math did not work. And then I started watching Will Prowse, as many of us have, and ended up around that time, started seeing some inverters that could actually do the job and looked easy enough. So jumped into that. I got a couple of the old EG4 6000 EXs, the old ones that everyone says I should have kept, but they didn't actually work. So there's no reason for me to have kept them. And so I went through tons and tons of variations. I've rebuilt my system probably 4 or 5 times. I got all that stuff on my YouTube channel, and now here we are.
And this is
Oh
what
yeah,
you got
that's
right
the
now.
present day setup. So three 6000 XPs, and I have 30,000 watt hours of batteries there with the Light Power 4 batteries, and yeah, this is just in my barn. So that's it.
Hey, that's awesome. I mean, we all had to start somewhere. I wish I had some pictures of where I started, but I don't have any. But we all start tiny, and then when I started moving up, I got the grow watt, and I got one of them. Actually, I might have a picture. Let me see here. No, I don't. I don't. It'll be too hard to find it when I got all this other stuff going on with this live stream. But basically, I started out with one grow watt and 10 of the 455 watt solar ever panels, and that was when I started with my bigger system. And then ever since then, I just been adding on, adding on, adding on. Now I have like, I don't know, maybe like a 16 kilowatt array and 85 kilowatts of batteries, and it's still not enough. I
Yep.
know people think
Nice.
that's crazy, but we use a ton of
Mm-mm.
power here, so this is what it is. I have an EV, back here, so you can see it in the picture. So that thing, if I
Mm-hmm.
drive it to work and then come home, I mean, you might use 25 or 30 kilowatts of your battery bank just to charge it back from going to work. So it all just depends on what your needs are, I guess. And so anybody can do it, DIY solar. And looks like we got a couple of questions, so we'll jump into a couple of those real quick.
Yep.
Let's see what we got here. If I can get my mouse to work. All right. Flowpack had a question. Flowpack RC, how important is communication line from inverter to batteries? Well, I mean, at least personally for me, I think it just helps the whole system out to use your state of charge if that's what you're talking about. So the batteries know exactly, the inverters know what the batteries need exactly. You're not just guessing by a voltage. So to me, it is pretty important. So the batteries are charged back the way they should. I like the communications myself. I don't know about these guys, but I'm sure they do too.
Yeah, I think it's great. It definitely helps the system. At least it appears that the system works better. The inverter can communicate to it, that you can see like the state of charge better on your app versus just the voltage. It's not necessary though. That is one thing to point out. Like you don't have to have it that way. And in fact, a couple of times I've had the techs have me just like put the batteries back into like the lead acid mode, or put the inverters into lead acid mode to do certain things. And at that point it's not communicating through the cable, so it still works. It's just not ideal.
Yeah, like Eric was saying, it's not necessary. Actually, my DIY battery bank that's directly beneath this computer is not tied at all to my Victron system, and
Hmm.
I've been running that way for over a year, just based off of voltage and then the state of charge from the shunt, calculating everything. But there's no communication directly with the BMS. Sometimes it just has issues. I've seen a lot of times where you just can't figure out, why is the BMS telling the inverter to turn off? And then, like Eric said, the tech will just have you switch to lead acid mode, and then things work. But there are those times that having that communication, especially from a safety standpoint, the inverter can have the battery shut down, the battery can have the inverter shut down. Um, so if it's not necessary, half of my system is running on it, half of the other system isn't, and both of them just work.
Yep, I've had to do the same thing too, going to lead acid to get something to work. And a lot of times it's because I needed to do a firmware update on the batteries, which to me, that's the biggest pain in all solar stuff, is doing firmware updates for stuff. But I want to go ahead and
Mhm.
say hello to everybody I haven't said hello to yet. Josh, what's going on? BY, Roll 2 Videos, Russell, I think I already said it. What's going on to John? Let's see. I think we have some more questions on here too. Um, Flowpack's asking East Texas, uh, would my one 6000 XP run a 2 horsepower 1500 pump? I seen yours do it, but not sure the depth.
Yeah, I imagine so. So my 5 horse pump is 500 feet down. It's 800-foot
Whoa.
well. The So the static water I think is 300. Just trying to give you a little bit of numbers there, but it's pumping 500 feet up, and then it pumps 1,000 feet, I guess, across the ground, or 3 feet below the ground to my house, and then all the way up another probably 400 feet back to my back pasture, and it's still a great pressure out there and all that. So it's not exactly similar. When you say 1500 pump, um, is that your depth, 1,500 feet at 2 horse? Either way, I think it'll work. It should.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I think it'll work too. I've seen people run a lot of stuff with these 6000 XPs, and I have three of them, and they have been amazing for me at least.
I was surprised with the 6000 XP, just the vast difference from the 6500 that I had, because you know it just worked.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to the point to where you're trying to do some things and it's like, oh my goodness, why is it not working? And then you hook up the
Yeah.
6000 XP and it's just like, all right, where's the problems?
Turns on.
Yeah.
Right.
They have been amazing for me. I mean, I've had them for what, 8 or 9 months now, or however long they've been out. Hey, Peyton's on the stream. Hey, what's going on, Peyton? All right, let's see if we got any more questions on here that I
1500
missed.
watts. Got it. Yeah. Flow pack easily.
Let's see here. Oh, how does Adam like the 10K Midnight compared to the Victron? Now, I would love to have one of those, man. That thing looked awesome. I've been watching that little series you got on that.
Yeah, it's a fun inverter. They packed a lot of stuff inside that I mean, when you're building some of these systems out, I think it was it the 18K PV was at least the first one that I saw that started integrating breakers into that lower compartment.
Yeah.
And then they had it in the 6000 XP, they had it in the 12K PV. But Midnight seems to be the first one that I'm at least aware of where they even added more load breakers into the bottom to where you almost could put this thing where you need it and run circuits directly into this and not have to worry about separate sub panels. I mean, it all depends on what you're trying to run. And then they've got smart breakers in there. I know that's not a new concept. Lots of different systems have the smart breaker aspect, but this one's got 3 of them as opposed to just one. I mean, even my Victrons, they can be controlled based on state of charge that have a smart output aspect, but that's only one circuit, not 3. So, I mean, the Midnight's still new. Time's still going to tell how well they did with it. I'm still putting it through it's still running my house right now. In fact, I still love the fact that I can run almost 10,000 watts of power through that, and I don't hear that fan kick on the entire time.
That's awesome there. Now, a quiet inverter, I mean, that's golden in my opinion. I mean, because a lot of them are super loud and annoying, but
it is. I mean, there were different times. I've had a lot of different inverters here in my basement, and my utility room is directly beneath our dining room upstairs. So when something turns on and those fans start going, you start waiting and looking around for liftoff in the dining room, waiting for that table just to shoot up because it starts, getting loud, almost vibrating the floor because it's so loud from those whirring fans.
Yeah.
But this, even when the fans do kick on, I don't hear it in my office next door. So
yeah, and I didn't even realize how loud. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
No, we're good.
And I didn't realize how loud all my inverters were. I knew they were loud until I installed that 18K PV at my parents'. And if it's not bringing in more than like 5,000 or 6,000 watts of solar and not putting out a bunch of power, you can't hear that thing at all. I mean, it makes no noise. I'm like, how crazy is this? I was like, I want this thing just because how quiet it is. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't put out enough power for me. I would need 2 of them, so that would be pretty ridiculous. Cost-wise, having 2, in my opinion. But we got a couple more people joining the chat. Jay, hey, what's going on? Glad to see you here. Richard says 75 watt solar panel back in 1993. Man, hey, I was still in school, man. I graduated in 98, so still a kid. I definitely didn't have any solar on the mind at that point. BY said, can I run 2 charge inverters with 2 different generators on the same battery bank? Yes, absolutely. So
yeah, there's one guy. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's
I've
got like
seen it. I know
this
what you're talking about.
massive industrial. Yeah, I think he had like 12 charge verters or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
nuts.
Dexter from
It was
Current
crazy.
Connected.
There you go.
He put. I think he was at his folks' house, and they used to have a giant diesel generator that they ran,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't efficient. And so he took 10 or 12 charge verters, slapped them all on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
had one generator powering all those charge verters, charging up the battery bank.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that was
wild.
really
We must
cool.
all watch the same stuff because every time we bring something up, I'm like, I've seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
To say
That's
YouTube's a
funny.
small place, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing
Eh,
with the charge verters is you just have to remember it's just another charger. You can put multiple solar charge controllers on the same battery bank. Different brands, you can
Mm-hmm.
put multiple charge verters on the same battery bank.
Yeah.
I can only
Yeah,
sit
and one
so
thing.
long.
There you go. Nice. One thing to point out, and in the original, I guess the ChargeVerter GC, when it was shipped, they put a sticker on page 18 or something like that, that basically said you can't, or at least it's not recommended that you charge with the ChargeVerter while you're actually using the inverters on the same batteries. And we've gone back and forth with Signature Solar on that, and with EG4. And EG4 has confirmed that now you can, or that it's not a problem. They've just done enough testing to say that that's okay to do. So, if anybody's wondering, that's just like Adam was saying, it's like having another MPPT on it or anything like that. It's just charging the batteries.
I was doing it the whole time regardless. So anytime I needed to use it, I was just using it. I didn't
Yep.
even worry about it. I'm like,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
man.
I didn't even see
How would
that,
it
so I
know
was
that
as
was
well. But
charging it?
yeah, yeah.
Obviously, we all read the manual.
Yes, of course.
Well, I had a viewer. They actually commented, and they're like, "It says in the manual you're not supposed to do this." I'm like, "All right, let me check that out." And so we verified. And it's okay.
I'm sure there's plenty I've messed up due to me not reading the manual because, hey, you think you know what you're doing sometimes, and then you're like, why is this not working?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
man.
let out the magic smoke more times than I care to admit.
All right, we got somebody from Newark, Vermont. I'm from North Carolina. I mean, these guys are from Michigan and Texas. So we got people definitely all over the place at this point. Let's see how many people commented on here. So we got 28 people watching right now. So I definitely don't think there's 28 people commented. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave that in the comments, and we'll try to answer that for you. Or I have plenty of questions. Oh, we got somebody from Bull City, North Carolina. Oh, another Carolina person. Tar Heel. Oh, Arizona. See, this is the stuff that I like. I like to know where all these people are at, and you just see that people all over the country, can agree on stuff and want to do the same things. It's not just one area. I know everybody likes to divide us, with different political stuff, which we're not going to bring any of that up. We're not talking about that, but people all over the place want DIY solar either to be more self-sufficient or to save money, and we can all definitely agree on that, I believe.
Oh
Massachusetts.
yeah, we all want to see that electric bill dollar amount go down, down, down.
North Dakota. Indiana. Well, hey, definitely people all over the place. All right, we're going to jump into a couple more questions while everybody's thinking of what they want to ask. What I want to know is, did you guys have any experience in electrical before you started the DIY solar, or did your job have anything to do with it, any of that kind of stuff, or you just knew? Either one
Go
of
ahead,
you,
Eric.
Adam or Eric.
Yeah. I'll jump in. We'll alternate, I guess. So I really have no, I guess, formal training in anything electrical. I'm a graphic designer, photographer by trade. I own and run a web agency. That was about it. But in 2010 or so, we started moving out of the city and into the country. And at some point, I ended up buying a $3,500 double wide mobile home or manufactured home. and spent more money to move it than I actually paid for it. So that kind of tells you how bad it was. It was in pretty terrible shape, and decided that I was going to turn it into the house that I'm sitting in right now. So in that process, we had to rip out all of the wiring, if there was even any left that wasn't destroyed by rats, and all of the plumbing and all the interior walls and the exterior walls and the roof and the subfloor and everything. It was a complete and total overhaul. So over 4 years of just late nights and weekends, I watched a lot of YouTube, and I brought in any friends or family that could kind of help me out. And my brother-in-law helped me a lot on the electrical stuff, just kind of teaching me how to run the home circuits, and help me with that. And then just like I said, a lot of YouTube. And so after rewiring and I guess not rewiring, fully wiring my home, um, I felt like I had a pretty good grasp on the AC side of things. And then I had that tiny little bit of DC knowledge just from that Stephen Harris bank that I'd put together just a few years prior. So that was it. So then it basically was just binge watching YouTube, and ChatGPT wasn't around at the time, so that wasn't helpful. And just I learned as I went. But I've honestly, I really do believe that if you follow the instructions and you just watch some people on YouTube and make sure you get good advice and reach out to the manufacturers, if you can build a Lego set, you can do this. I mean, it's just be safe.
Yeah, you just follow the basic safety guidelines and you're gonna be fine. Don't work on something when it's energized, of course. Have everything turned off and follow, instructions that you're supposed to follow, and you should be fine. Let me go ahead and say, got a few more people that's commented on here. So we got another North Carolina, Mitchell County. Got Mr. W from Puerto Rico. We got, let's see here. Got a few more questions on here as well, but we'll let Adam go ahead and finish his question, and then we'll go to the comments.
So from the electrical standpoint, growing up, my family, it seemed like every summer we were always doing a renovation project at somebody else's house. So it might have been a roofing job one summer, it might have been a kitchen job the next summer, a bathroom job. And in my family, everybody had their own trade that they knew. And my one uncle was electrical. So I kind of ended up following him around as a little kid because I liked all the electrical aspect and the wiring. And so I learned a lot from him growing up and then doing all these projects. And then back in 2011, we bought our house. Fixer upper is being generous. And so we are systematically going through the house, gutting every room as we go. And I don't even think Electrical Nightmare would be doing it justice. When we bought the house, I think we had 5 breaker panels.
Whoa.
And a couple of them were stacked on top of each other, and they had the phase mains coming out of one and daisy chained into the one above it. No panel covers, no nothing. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw one day that those mains were glowing a cherry red. So from that standpoint, we hired an actual electrician to come in and take care of that rat's nest.
I can't blame you with that one.
But we've been going through pulling out all the wiring in the house, rerunning home runs, and redoing all the electrical as we go through. But like Eric said, a lot of the stuff is, you can find out instructions, and if you follow those instructions and do things safely, basic electrical work is not too bad. The DC side for me was completely new. I mean, I knew how to hook up a car battery, and that was about it. Jumper a battery, but that was the gist of the DC stuff. Well, okay, I guess wiring in a ham radio into my car. That's all I ever did from the DC aspect. So learning about, the batteries and, DC wiring and, voltage drop from the DC side and all that kind of stuff, that was all new to me. And that's where YouTube has been invaluable just from seeing a lot of these different folks, because everybody's got different ways to explain things, and so you watch a half a dozen different folks and you get the concepts and the ideas of how things work together. And like, I don't remember who said, if it was Rodney or Eric, but we probably all have watched the same channels getting started, because you look and see, well, do they have a lot of subscribers? Yeah, they do. Okay, they probably know what they're talking about. And
Exactly.
so you follow the 5, 10, 15 different channels and learn about as much as you can.
Yeah, and I started out in the Army doing radar repair, so I do have some electronics experience. Definitely didn't know anything about kind of the home AC side, you know, but I mean, you can figure it out like you said. You watch some YouTube videos, hey, anybody can do it in my opinion. If you know how to work safely, then to me, you should be able to do it. And we got a few more people on here. Let's go ahead and uh, uh,
Hey, Rodney, real
Steve.
quick before we jump
Yes,
off of
sir.
that. Yeah, so I want to plug real quick. I'm going to put in chat. Victron has an incredible resource, Wiring Unlimited. Are any of
Yes.
y'all familiar with that one? Okay,
I am not.
fantastic. Like it's okay. You guys have so I went to a Victron event, the Signature Solar held, and they pass these things out. So I picked up two of them. There's a PDF at the bottom of this link that I just put in here. I'm not sure if this is the most up to date. I really don't know. I just did a Google search. But if you go down to the bottom, it looks like there's download Wiring Unlimited um, English. I'm guessing that is EN. It's great. It gives you like a fundamental level understanding of just electricity and how it works. What is a watt? What is a volt? What is an amp? And how do they work together? And what are the formulas that you need? And all of that. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then it goes way into some advanced stuff that's over my head, but it's a great guide. It'll help you figure out how to wire things together, whether it's series or parallel, and your panels or your batteries and all of that. Awesome resource. See if you can get your hands on a hard copy somewhere. I'm sure a distributor can get you one, but yeah,
I may have to
that's
make
just
you a
want to plug that real quick.
moderator so you can put that link on because I'm not seeing it. So let me try to
Oh, I put it
add
in
you as.
the yeah, I just put it straight into the stream chat on YouTube. So
I didn't see
it
it.
doesn't look like it's okay. Uh, Google search Wiring Unlimited. Um,
I just
or
added you as
Victron
a
Wiring Unlimited.
moderator, so you should be able to add a link now, I think. And
okay.
everybody, this is my first stream on this channel, so some of the technical stuff I am trying to figure out, not we. I'm trying to figure out, so we're doing the best we can. And let's go ahead and say hello
There it is.
to Steve. He says he's old school with an Outback radiant inverter, 100% off grid. That's awesome. Richard, uh, one rat. What? One rat. The one inverter all last weekend, off grid, the whole house. Maybe typed that wrong or something. I'm not sure what that means. Uh, Flowpack said he heard the 6000 XP won't charge batteries and give AC power at the same time. Is that true? Not that I know of. That should work. I don't have AC power going into mine, but I think Eric does. I think.
Yeah, I do. No, it'll go either way. It does both.
Gavin Stone DIY. Hey, what's going on, Gavin? Parks with points. It said just ordered a 6000 XP pre-order. That is awesome. Alpha Mine. Hey, what's going on? Let's see. Russell Kemp's got a question. I just installed a 12K EG4 solar mini split. Has anyone else installed one? Any significant electrical bill change? Well, I installed one for my buddy, a 24K unit, and it drastically reduced his electric bill because he's not even using his central heat and air now. His house is small, but that one unit is basically keeping his whole house heated and cooled, and it's probably dropped his bill 60 or 70% or something ridiculous. He loves the thing. So
Yeah, I've got the 24K, and it's probably overkill for my small house. And I need to get my panels in a better spot for it. But when there's sun on the panels, it's just free AC, and it is cold, and it does a fantastic job. I love it. Highly recommend. I've got a whole series on that. I know Rodney does as well. So
I actually installed a 12K. I still hadn't put a 9K in one of our rooms that kind of gets hotter than the other rooms. Y'all know, y'all probably got a room like this in your house. And
Mm-hmm.
so I haven't even made a video on it yet because I've been so busy. But the thing's been running for months, so I need to do a video on that as well. All right, let's see who else we got that I haven't said hello to. Let's see here. Where did I stop at? The document is excellent. Let's see. Total Property Solutions Exterior Cleaning. Hey, welcome to the stream. Says my 18K and Power Pro is coming on Monday. Any recommendations for a good string of panels? Well, the Sirius panels and the what is it, Aptos? I can't remember the name brand. I'm getting ready to do some testing on both of those, and they're both looking good so far. I'm gonna be installing those, so there's just so many good panels. I'll let these guys tell you what they think, but I can't pick just one. There's so many good ones out there.
Yeah, honestly, I've done very little with panels, and I kind of regret my decision. I went with some used panels, and I paid like $25 for them, for $25 a piece, and they're great, but they only put out about 110 watts or so a piece, and so my problem is trying to just figure out how to like, build enough and find the space to put all of the panels that I need. I've got 85 of them, I think. And so I don't have them up. I've got them laying around and leaned up against fences and stuff like that that you're not supposed to do. So don't do that. But that's the way I've got it at the moment because I'm just trying to think through building the enormous mounts that I'm going to have to build. So I kind of wish I just saved up a little bit more and gone with some, 450-watt panels or something like that. So just remember, you have to buy the racks to put them on or build the racks to put them on.
Yeah.
So
And
square
you have to buy
footage
all the
matters.
hardware to mount them. So if you have a bigger panel,
Yeah.
depending on how many you have, it may be more efficient, cost wise to do, you know, 10 huge panels than do 25 small ones. It all just depends on what kind of setup you're going to be doing. But sometimes it can get very expensive for those brackets to mount them.
Yeah, that's one of those things that folks always tend to forget is even from the inverter standpoint, the battery standpoint, that's the fixed cost, but then you've got all the little miscellaneous pieces that you
Mm-hmm.
have to add to. From the solar panel aspect, I haven't done a whole lot ever since I've put mine in. I have 12 Renogy 100-watt panels that have been working fairly well, and I mean I purchased those 3 years ago for the only reason that they came not freight. I could order them from Amazon and they'd show up on my porch in 2 days.
Hey,
I didn't have to
nothing wrong
pay
with
the
that.
$500 freight charge for the large
Mm-hmm.
panels, and that's great starting out, or if you have small real estate. But when I finally upgraded to the 48-volt system, I went with the Solar Ever 455-watt panels.
Yeah, I got some of those.
And those work great. I mean, for a while, I thought that they might have been out of stock for quite some time,
They
but I
they they
think
were.
I
I think they have
recently heard.
410-watt now.
Okay. But I know that those have worked great. I haven't had any problems with them. Like Eric said, the biggest issue is finding space and where are you going to put them. I actually just came inside about an hour ago. We're finally working on our chicken coop rebuild, and
Nice.
I'm building the half of the roof structure is going to be just solar panels. So that'll be right over top of the coop or the run-in area. And for those, I ended up picking up used Santan solar panels. I think they're
Mm-hmm.
250-watt panels. But I'll end up doing a video on those in, well, I probably a month, depending on how long it takes me to get the thing done.
Yeah. How many
But
videos you guys have stacked up waiting to record, or that have
Oh,
already been recorded that you just never edited? Yeah.
I don't even want to
never
say.
Yeah.
edited.
I have stuff from
Yeah.
months ago,
Just
like that mini split, that 9K. I
years ago.
recorded
Yeah.
stuff. I just haven't had time to put it out. And then I get other stuff that seems like it's priority over that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so far behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I've got one on deck right now that's in the editor, and one that's in YouTube to be released when I feel it's appropriate to release it.
Right. Right.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Hey,
man. There's
we got a
so
few.
much more.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say for those of you who are joining in, yeah, thank you all for watching us and stuff. But like the content creation process, and when you go to pick up the camera to go film the thing that you're doing, it makes it at least 3 to 4 times longer than it would be otherwise. I mean, it's like
Yes.
I could just go. I could probably build my entire system in a short afternoon, but it's like a 5 day, which I don't have 5 days solid. So it's like a 3 week project because I'm filming it. So that's
Yeah.
just how it is.
People have no idea how long it took me to do that build at my parents' house, and it's still not done. Man, doing that solar patio, oh my goodness, that took forever. And then the filming,
I,
it just slows everything down.
I think after watching your solar patio, that's the reason that I have not been filming the entire coop project. Because I saw how long that took you, and I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get out there and film and get this thing done in a week.
Yeah, it,
uh,
it's a lot harder than people probably think it is making YouTube videos, and some people definitely make it look easy, but we realize how much work goes into it for different people that we watch, and I definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you guys as well because I watch your videos. And so we got a few more people in the chat. Let's go ahead and welcome them. Alpha Mine, I'm not sure if I already said hello to you or not. Two steps from off grid. AW, he says the new 8K is awesome. 12K? I guess it puts out 8K. Um,
yes, I
let's
think they
see
had to
here.
change the name for certain reasons.
Alpha Mind says I'm looking to do a build with an EG4 and 18K PV without batteries that does not backfeed the grid. I use around 500 kilowatt hours a day. Whoa. Are you sure that's right? That's a lot.
I was going to say, is that a typo?
Yeah, I hope that's 50, not 500. My parents use a ton, and they used 160 something the other day, and I thought that was ridiculous. And if you're
Mm.
using 500, that is a lot of power. But yeah, you can use the 18K without backfeeding into the grid. That's how I'm doing that at my parents' house. You know, we didn't do all the permits and all that stuff to sell back to the grid because they use so much power, they will never sell back. We can never get the battery charged, and they only have one
Mhm.
battery. I need more panels at their house, I guess.
Just put
And
them
then let's
around the
see.
pool.
Yeah, they said
BY,
no.
I want to make sure that we don't miss it. BY wanted to know if bifacial panels are worth the added cost. Have y'all dealt with bifacial at all?
Yes, I have a few, and at my parents' house, and I would say I think they are depending on the setup. You have to have the right
Mhm.
setup for the bifacials, and I have bifacials right now, and that's what I'm be installing next. And my setup probably won't be perfect for it because it's going to be over grass or over my chicken coop or something like that, so it's not going to be perfect. But if you put it over some white rocks or concrete or white fence behind it or something like that, I definitely
Mhm.
think you can see some
Snow.
good gains. So I
Mhm.
think it is depending on the setup.
Yeah, I haven't done anything specifically with the bifacials, but I want to say, is it Projects with Everyday Dave?
Yeah, yeah,
Has a huge array, and he's in Ohio. His array's out in a
Mhm.
wide open field, and he did some extensive testing on bifacials, especially from the winter aspect. Um,
Yeah.
Rodney, I don't know how much
Also,
snow you actually get where you're at, but
not
where I
not
am up
much.
here, the snow would cover the top sections of those panels, but you'd get that reflective light on the bottom of
Yeah,
the
mm,
bifacial. So and then it
yeah.
would end up heating up the panel, and then the snow would snuff off.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
kind of
that's
say
cool.
if you're
I
depends
doing
on
wanted to
where
make
ground
you're at
sure
too.
mount, go ahead.
the lag, it's great. I wanted to
Hmm.
make sure because sometimes we get into the jargon and some people are just like, what's a bifacial panel? So real quick, I just wanted to throw it out for anybody who's watching this who doesn't know. Bifacial basically allows for the sun to, or the panel itself to generate electricity when the sun is hitting it from the top and from the back, or the top and the bottom, the front and the back. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the back only, it's maybe a 20% or something like that. It's not
Correct.
100% on the front, 100% on the back, but it allows you to set your panels in a way where snow or white rock or white fence or concrete or whatever it is will reflect sunlight back and give you 120% output versus just your standard output from one side. So just wanted to get that out of the way in case anybody was wondering.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with that. Eric has the teaching mindset. You can tell. I don't even think about that stuff. We do it all the time. We mess with it all the time. I don't even think about that. I don't think about where we started at. We got to realize everybody doesn't know everything, and we all got to start somewhere. So if you have a question, go ahead and leave that down in the comment box, and we'll try to answer it, and we'll try to find a few more. I think we got a few more on here. Let's see what we got. Says Adam, how's the zero export function on the new Midnight? Have you been able to test it?
I must not be scrolled down far enough to see all the lists. There
That's
we
from
go.
James G.
I have had the zero export feature enabled for the last week and a half. Is it maybe 2 weeks? And I have not seen. I actually have a Sense home monitor system. It's kind of like the Emporia that you can add into your electrical panel. It's got some clamps that go over the main lines that allow you to see power flowing from the grid, or either direction, really. And it records power flowing in both directions. And I have not seen any power flowing back out through the grid connection. And to my knowledge, I haven't seen any letters or doorbells ringing from the electric company either. So,
Oh,
but I know for a lot of folks, that's. I mean, I don't have a net metering agreement. I don't think where I am, it's worth the hassle to go through it. The payback it's not worth it for me. So everything that I do has to be from that zero export standpoint where power can never flow back. So
yeah. I
I
think at this
really have to
point,
make sure that it doesn't do anything.
yeah, I think at this point, there's probably about 90% of people out there that you're better off getting batteries and putting that power in your battery and using it later than selling it to the electric company for 10 cents on the dollar or whatever to compared to what they're charging you
Mm-hmm.
for it or less. So I just don't think it's worth it in my mind for most people.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me give you guys a little bit of a teaser of a video that I'm planning on. It's still in the works, but it's going to be coming out soon. Um, it's going to be talking about how I do that, but I'm also utilizing some special plans through the power company. If you have the power to choose what company you have and what plan you have, to basically receive free energy, put it in your batteries, and then use it when the sun's not shining. So that's been working really well for me, and I'm excited to share how I've done it to because basically I only have like, I don't know, 1,500 watts worth of solar coming in at any given time. So it's pretty great. So you don't even have to have solar panels and make this work. So it's
I've
awesome.
never even
There you go.
heard of
East
that, so I'm
Texas
definitely going to be
Homestead
watching that one.
exclusive.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be good.
All right, let's see. I think we got a few more questions on here. Let's say hello to everybody too. The JR914. Hey, welcome to the live stream. Let's see. Who else has got a question? Where are we down to? I'm not seeing a
There you
ton
go.
more
What's
questions
more
right
of
now. I think we got through all those questions, but I have some more questions, I guess, unless you guys have some.
Yeah, I'm just reading through the chat.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
Mr. W says bifacials outperform regular ones in every scenario. Bifacial gain varies, but it can be very impressive. That's good to know.
And I'd like to thank everybody that is here watching the stream. I definitely do appreciate it. I know, this is your time. That's one of the most precious things that you have is your time. And coming on here to watch us and ask us questions and just interacting, I definitely enjoy it. I've definitely enjoyed having these guys on here for sure. And if you haven't hit that like button or shared it out, hey, go ahead and do that. I'm not sure how long these guys got and want to stay on here, but I'm fine with whatever they want to do, and we can keep talking and answering questions. But you just let me know.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
got a
Let's keep going.
question. Just reading after some of these uh, from some of these comments. So, how much power do you guys end up using on an average day from a
Mhm.
kilowatt standpoint? Just ballpark it, and then this can even go for those in the chat as well. I'd be curious just to see if you've got some kind of a solar setup. How much power are you trying to cover?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, a lot of times I'm using 100 kilowatts a day just based on
Yeah.
I have an EV, so based on if I'm charging that back or not. But there's days I've used 120. It just depends on how much stuff we're running. If people don't know, I have a huge family. My washer and dryer runs basically all day long, 6 days a week. We don't run it on Sundays, but I mean, we are pushing the 6,000 XPs to the max a lot of times, and I have absolutely had this thing shut off because we use too much power several times. So people that think they can't do it with three of them, yes, you can. You
Mhm.
go
You
cook,
can.
use a dryer, charge an EV. Just yesterday, kicked it out because I forgot my car was charging, and then my family started running stuff in the house. Bam, went out for like a couple minutes, and then it auto restarted and came back on. So
Yeah. Yeah. See, and if you're grid connected though, just so you guys know, if you actually have a connection to the grid, it'll automatically switch over to the grid. You'll never know that you pulled too much current from your batteries or through the inverter, and it just seamlessly switches over. The lights might flicker just a little bit, and then as soon as it drops below the threshold, it just seamlessly switches back over. So we're the same way, Rodney. We use between 100 and well, it's kind of 100's a good average day for us, especially in the winter when we're doing electric heat. We've used up to 200. I mean, and on a good day, like a really low production day, we're down at 50 to 60. Um, we've got 30 kilowatt or 30 kilowatt hours of battery storage. So a lot of what we use is during the night, just due to the electric plan that we have. And then we have the solar in the day and the battery that we've stored. So that's it. How about you, Adam?
and
Yeah,
that's his
there's the system
batteries
right
right
there.
there for anybody that's interested.
Yeah, from my standpoint, I guess it kind of depends on the time of year. I kind of feel like I barely use anything compared to you guys. um, we might be in that 35 to 40 kilowatt range, depending on how long my son decides he wants to take a shower. Because that electric hot water heater just seems to take up a
That is
ton
it.
of power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm kind of there's a balance between me being cheap and
Mm-hmm.
how long can I stand the heat to determine how long the air conditioner stays off. But once the air kicks on, and then you've got the water heater running, those are our monster loads that end up taking up a
Mm-hmm.
lot of power. So our power during the summertime can easily go up to the 50, 60 range if we're running the air a lot.
Yeah.
Wintertime is actually our light time, to where we might be down into the 15, 20 range because of our outdoor wood boiler that handles our
Yeah.
uh, heat and our domestic hot water as well. So we don't use our electric water heater at all during the wintertime.
So
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Frazier on here said he's using about 50 kilowatts a day. And hey, if you the less you can use, the better off you are because you can get a smaller system. Then we got another question. It's like any secret sources for batteries? Shipping is nuts. A lot of times, Signature Solar has free shipping. You just have to wait till
Mm-hmm.
they have that deal.
Yeah, watch
So
it.
if you need batteries, that's what you need to do is wait for the free shipping and go and
Mm-hmm.
jump on it. Just be ready to buy it when it's available.
I'll have to
Yeah.
look here, but I know that Current Connected was running a 4th of July sale. I don't know if it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
Free shipping on all orders. So if they have any of
Nice.
their batteries in stock, you can get those with free shipping. And they sell EG4. They sell um, what's that other? No, they've got their SOK batteries. What was that other cheaper battery that a lot of people have been talking about? Um,
I don't recall.
yeah, I can't remember what it is. Pites. Is that it? No. I don't know. They got a handful of them. You could take a look over there.
Somebody put on here AO Lithium has their batteries at $9.99. That's pretty good. I don't know
Yeah,
about the
it's a good
shipping.
deal. Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely all about the deals.
Oh yeah, yeah. With as much as a lot of this stuff costs, I mean, we feel the cost like a lot of folks do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we don't get
Yeah.
everything for
I'm
free.
about yeah. I'm about an hour from Signature Solar, so for me, I just drive on down there and pick them up. So that helps out a lot. But yeah, with the shipping charges. Speaking of shipping, I hadn't told you guys this yet, but 10 minutes before I jumped on here to be with you guys, I got an email from UPS saying that my 12K PV was sitting at the gate. So I ran down there and picked it up real
Nice.
quick. So I'm excited about that.
Congrats.
I got one sitting right over here. It's still in the box. That's what I'm gonna run this
Yeah,
my little workshop here with, but I'm waiting on batteries and that. You know how it goes. I don't have
nice.
I
everything.
figured you'd burn the midnight oil and have that thing on the wall because I saw you had that for a week and a half,
Yeah, like
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but
Come on,
I'm
man.
trying to I
Come
want to do the
on.
setup right. I'm waiting
You
on
got
the
nothing else
battery.
to do.
Hey, the
Film the
batteries
whole
are out of
thing.
stock. The batteries are out of stock. I have some other batteries, but I don't want to put those with it, so I'm just using my little Calfa setup. I got like 10K of batteries and a little 10K inverter. I'm running my air conditioner in here in the shop, and then I got a bunch of little solar generators running all my computer stuff and monitors and all this stuff right now.
Nice.
That's what it was like when I got that midnight inverter. That thing showed up, and as soon as the work day ended, man, I came right over here and I burned the midnight oil. It was rendering the edited version of the video at 3 in the morning, trying to get that thing done.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I figured since Gavin and Will had already put out videos on them, I'm like, everybody's basically already seen it, so I'm just
I
gonna wait
know.
until I
They've
get my
seen.
full setup.
Yep.
Yeah. And Signature Solar just put out a good one just today, I think it was. It was really nice. Yeah, really, really nice setup.
All right, everybody that we haven't said hi to in the chat, hey, welcome. Let's go ahead and see if there's any more questions in here. How do you make an 18K PV that doesn't send power back by accident? If all the settings are turned off, is there a way to generate no power will ever go out to the power company? So they do have no export features, and that's how I have my parents set up. But there's always going to be a time that you may send zero.1 kilowatt hours technically back to the grid. But I mean, we haven't heard anything back from the electric company, and I don't think you ever will with that little bit amount, because it might go back for just a second and then it's going to stop. You know, it just depends on its reaction time, and if you have a dryer or some large load turn off really fast, it may send a little bit back, but basically it's not exporting any. So I think it works and it's not a problem. Let's see here. Any
Yeah,
more
while you're looking,
questions? Yeah, go
another
ahead.
thing that another thing that definitely is adding to my ability to go farther with the batteries that I have is just taking my air conditioner and putting it on its own panels, right? I mean, these solar air conditioners are incredible. I mean, that's definitely the future. I can't imagine going back to like the old window units that I used to have that were just sucking 4,000, 5,000 watts, just humming all day long. And this thing puts out more energy, or excuse me, it puts out more cooling power at half as much energy, and it's not pulling from my batteries because it's got its own panels. It's fantastic.
Two steps off grid said it seems like Rodney installs solar while he sleeps. No, I do not. I have so many projects that I need to be doing, and lately here I've been kind of slowing down a little bit because I'm like I just had to take a break. I got that 12K, and a lot of times, yeah, I would stay up late and try to install it and get a video out. But sometimes you just got to say no.
Looks like somebody said Ruxu was that battery name that I was trying to figure out. So thank you guys for that. And I saw a lot of comments for um, getting one of those efficient water heaters, the heat pump style. Yes, that is on my list of things to do.
Yeah, Signature Solar
Yes.
had
When
those
this
at one
thing
time, but they
dies.
don't anymore. So I
So
guess you're
what do you
talking about
guys
from Lowe's
think?
or Home Depot.
Yeah, tankless or heat pump water heaters? Just what's your preference? Do you know in the chat? What do you
I
guys
would
think?
think I would think heat pumps myself because the other ones just seem to use a lot of power all at once. You would need some huge inverters, and the heat pumps only use 1,500 watts a lot of times, or whatever it is to keep the stuff warm. I would prefer to have one of them if I upgrade. So
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
where
'cause-
my mind would go to, just because the tankless ones, I mean, those things you would need at least a dedicated inverter just for one of those to run for a short
well,
period of time,
yeah.
yeah. Now
because it
propane,
wants
Adam, you could
10,
go that route.
15,000 watts.
Yeah,
Yeah, Steve Frazier said he uses
yeah,
propane on demand, so that is an option.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Somebody put
used
on
to
here they
have
have a
one on my old
27
house.
kilowatt instant hot water heater. Wow, 27 kilowatts.
Ouch.
See, I mean, that'd almost be impossible to build a system to run that. I mean, you'd have to spend so much money. Man, that's
Yeah, you could
wild.
do it, but it's not worth it. Tankless with propane.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing me personally, because I have that preparedness mindset, I don't like about propane is I could run out, and I just always think solar, I will
Yeah.
have it. So I'd rather have everything electric because I just feel like that would last,
Right.
especially after some of these
So
hurricanes
I'm
we've
actually
been through
looking
here in North
at
Carolina.
yeah, I'm actually looking at doing one of the actual like solar water heaters. Actually like running some coil piping up along the house and then feeding it
Okay.
into the water heater and going that route. Because man, that would help out a lot.
I have toyed around with the idea of getting a second smaller water heater to use as like a preheat tank that I could then use any of my different inverter setups. When the state of charge of the battery is higher, it can turn on that preheat, warm up the water in that tank, and then the larger tank wouldn't have to run off of the main battery bank.
Yeah, so it's just a way to store your energy instead of in your batteries and as a thermal mass.
Correct.
That would
Yep.
work. Yeah, if you've got excess energy.
All right, looks like we got
Yeah. So
about
one
That's the
thing.
key.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say on the solar energy stuff, or you're banking your energy. I did some really cool stuff with like solar or thermal benches. Like I took a bunch of concrete blocks and I made a bench, and I ended up using was using electric heat that I was getting for free to heat up those cinder blocks, and then they basically just radiated heat. It's like a what's the those cob what are those cob benches that you'll see in like permaculture homes and stuff, you know what I'm talking about, like a
Yeah.
rocket mass bench or whatever it is. Yeah, anyway, kind of same concept, but just using the excess energy to do it. So there's all sorts of creative things you can do.
All right, Flowpack said my whole house will be installed this weekend. 9 kilowatts of panels. Do I need to wait till dark to plug it in, or can I use secondary rubber gloves? I mean, you always need to be careful, but I do my stuff during the daytime. I just plug them on in. As long as you're
Yeah,
not sticking your
unplugging is a
fingers
bigger
in them, you
deal
should
than
be
plugging
fine.
in. Yeah, yeah, when you're
Yeah,
unplugging,
if you can
you
cover the
definitely want to
panels,
disconnect.
you definitely
And
don't want them to be under load.
Yes.
Right.
All right. Any more questions that it looks like I missed? Let's see. Tac Air 42 says, "What do you fellows recommend as far as connecting your series panels together and to the disconnect box?" No, that's the same question, ain't it? Or yeah, that's the same question. Do it at night. It's basically the same question. So we already answered that, basically. I have a few more questions, unless these guys got to go.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all just let me know. We already been
No,
on here
I'm
for an
good.
hour. We got 51 people watching. Hey, I definitely appreciate everybody that is watching. You know, your time, like I said before, very important. We definitely appreciate it. Hopefully, we've been able to help you out some. If you got any more questions, or these guys, if they need to jump off, hey, y'all just let me know. You know, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, I'm good for a bit.
Can't believe
Let's
it's
All
keep
right.
been
going.
an hour.
Yeah, time flies.
All right. What's the best advice you would give to somebody thinking about getting into DIY solar? That'll be my next question.
I would say don't let analysis paralysis get in the way. Just get in there and start building something. Order your stuff, and then like I have so many people who will like leave a comment that says, "I bought my inverters 12 months ago, and I just haven't, I don't feel confident to install them yet." It's like just get them out of the box, just put them on the wall, and start putting stuff together.
Exactly.
I mean, obviously you have to be safe and make sure you're doing it right, but once you start doing it, like it just gets easier.
Yeah, and I would almost say, kind of on the almost on the flip side of that, because I've been burned by this a few times. But take your time from the standpoint of don't get so excited about something that you skip things just so that you can get power going. There's been too
Yes.
many times. I mean, I did that little portable power station and I didn't pay attention to one little setting because I was so excited to turn it on
Hmm.
and plug it in and get solar charging this power station. And I came out and all of a sudden smoke's coming out of the
Too
box.
too many amps.
It's, yeah. Well, the voltage was set wrong.
Oh,
So
okay.
it blew all the capacitors in the inverter. That huge inrush just pop, 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 pop. But
Yeah.
uh, you don't want to leave it sitting in a box for that long. But make sure you're taking your time and you're doing things safely when you go to install your
Yeah.
system.
To add to that, I would say just like make sure your final check, like you go through and maybe there's a checklist out there that somebody has. I don't know, but just like a go live checklist, and just make sure that everything is right before you flip the switch. Um, that's
And
really important.
and a lot of times the manuals for the inverter will have that, so it'll have a lot of things you should be going to check. So, are there any pieces? This is from
How about you,
Adam
Rodney?
Hensley. Oh, for me. Let me see here. What would be my advice? Just to get started, it's
Yeah.
better to have one thing in your house running on solar than nothing. You know, if your power
Oh
goes
yeah.
out and you got something that can run your refrigerator, that will make your life so much better. You know, because you don't have to worry about your food
Yeah.
going bad. So that's what I would personally start with: a refrigerator and run a couple lights. If you could do that,
Mm-hmm.
That's
man,
right.
you'd be so much better.
That's right.
Oh, I got
Even
it.
just like,
Off of what Rodney
this.
said, I got a question for you guys. Go ahead, Eric. You finish first.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, even just get yourself a 800,000 watt inverter, clamp it onto your car batteries. I mean, that's a great place to start, and then just incrementally work your way up as you can. I mean, and if you just can get one inverter and one battery and stick it on a dolly, is you've seen 1,000 times all over the place. I think pretty sure we've all built one of those. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just do that, right? I mean, it'll keep things going. It'll keep your lights on. It'll keep your fans running if you need to. But do that, and then make sure you can expand. Don't nail yourself down into a brand or a product that's not expandable.
So my question to you guys would be, tying off to what Rodney said. Do you remember what your first load was that you powered with solar?
A light bulb. With the Harbor Freight solar panel. That was the first thing I got a long time ago, and I had the light bulb in my little building. I was like, I just thought it was amazing. I mean, a light bulb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I basically built out that dolly, and the first thing I plugged in, I'm pretty sure was either a heat gun or a uh, space heater or something along those lines, some sort of resistive heat. And then I went straight for an air conditioner. Just plug that sucker straight in. Yeah.
I think my first thing was probably the lights in my shop. Just, I figure if anything's going to explode, a light bulb is cheap to replace. Um, but once those came on, then it was like, you're looking around, all right, what tools can I plug in? And you're trying all the tools. Probably the first long-term load would be a fridge, because you don't realize how much power the fridge takes just running all day long. And those little defrost cycles that it has to run, that stuff adds up.
Yeah. Or 4 of them.
Yeah, I definitely wish I had pictures of where I started, because it's just pretty crazy. If I had the Harbor Freight little setup and then I showed what I got now, it's not even in the same realm. It's just wild.
Yeah. Yeah, Rodney, for those who are just jumping on, would you throw that first setup that I've got on there just so people can see, like, this is an easy place to start.
Yeah,
I mean,
just give me just a second.
it's not the solar stuff that we're talking about right now, but it's, I mean, a couple of car batteries, a single car battery. If you can get 20 car whatever it is. I mean, don't go crazy unless you just have them given to you.
All right,
But
let's see that.
yeah, right there. I mean, just wired together, and then you can go to Walmart, and for $35 you can get a charger, and then another $80 to get your inverter. I mean, the most expensive thing there is clearly the batteries, but I mean, that right there will run some box fans, some Christmas lights in your house, and your refrigerator for a good long time.
Yeah, charge your phone back.
Oh yeah.
And that setup, like you said, you can charge that back with a generator, or you can even charge it back with your car. Because everybody
Right.
doesn't realize your car is a generator. Technically, you can't pull so much
That's
power
right.
out at once, but it will charge a little bit. So
That's right.
let's see if we got any more questions, so I can make it back to the chat here. All right, you
Sand
guys got
battery.
any more
Yeah,
questions?
I've seen those. Those are cool.
All right, I got
Rodney,
another one for
I'm
you.
curious.
Go ahead.
Oh, the lag, man. Oh,
Yeah.
the lag's so bad. Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, like, what got y'all into doing stuff on YouTube, and why'd you decide, hey, you know what, I'm gonna just start putting all this stuff on here?
I've had quite a few channels before, and I don't know. I just have a creative, I guess, kind of personality or whatever. I wouldn't say I'm a people person either. I'd rather be talking to a camera than a big old bunch of people. Even though I'm talking to people on here, I know it's weird. It makes no sense at all. But I like being able to do something creative, and I don't know. I like doing technical stuff and creative stuff. So to me, it's kind of fun. And then, you know, I would love to be able to do this full time in the future. Of course, who wouldn't? But it started out as a hobby. I had kayak fishing. I started out doing that, and I've had all kinds of channels. So, I mean, it started out as fun, but at this point, I mean, I see that you could turn it into a business. So, I mean, if you can do something you like and make a little bit of money, to me, that should be your goal anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, it was not the creative aspect. I do not. Well, I wanted to document. I wanted to go through and document this process, because I've gone through and taken pictures of different projects that I've done around the house. Even in our renovations that we've done, you take pictures and you look at things, but then when you look back at those and try to reference them, it would have been nice if it would have been just a little to the left or a little closer, or if I would have written down exactly what I did here. I got a picture of it, but what was it for?
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to do this solar stuff. And I had taken pictures of the 12-volt system that I built. And I tried to, put notes and stuff on my pictures to try to remember what I did or what change, why I made this change. Why did I add this size of a cable versus something else? But writing it down, I had to remember where I wrote it down. And the pictures didn't tell me as much as I wanted to store, the information I wanted to recall, remember. So I thought, all right, I'm going to make videos. And it was just going to be me taking my little phone and pointing at things and talking, to myself, really. And then I realized, good grief, these videos take up a ton of space. My hard drive just completely filled up.
Yeah.
And then you buy the external hard drive. And then that fills up.
Mhm.
I mean, a terabyte seemed like a lot until you
So
start
you're a
recording.
YouTuber for hosting.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
YouTube was going to be my free storage.
Oh
And
man.
I don't know,
It's a good
a
idea.
bunch of weird
Don't
folks
say anything
started
offensive.
following around and commenting and asking questions on things. And I thought, why not? Let's keep it going and see where it goes.
All right, looks like we got a couple more questions on here we may have missed. Adam Hensley, are there any piece of equipment you wouldn't buy used?
I'm
I'm
not a
not a fan of
fan
buying
of,
used batteries. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I'm not a fan of the Renogy stuff. I've had too many problems with Renogy equipment. The panels work fine, but I've had some of the equipment and I wasn't really a fan of that. So I'd end up staying away from that kind of stuff.
I have a hard time with used equipment. Cables, stuff like that, like the hardware, that's a little bit different to me. But the electronics, you don't know, how it's been used, abused, rebuilt. You don't really know what's going on with that. Yeah, I'm getting that feedback too.
Yeah, I was hearing that.
Um,
I'm like, I don't know
every
where it's
once in a
coming
while.
from.
So, yeah, panels are probably the things that I would feel most comfortable with. Just know that you're going to get a reduced output.
Mm-hmm.
I bought mine from Santan Solar as well. They say 240 on the back. I get about 120, something like that, 110, 120. So, they've got MC3 connectors on the back, so that tells you something. So they're definitely fairly old. I would have a hard time with inverters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I'd
you
have to
said,
agree.
you don't know what kind of abuse they've been put through. Have they been run
Hmm.
at their maximum capacity for extended periods of time? Are
Mhm.
they near the end? Solar panels, the Santan, you get them for what, $25 a piece or something like that?
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah. And
shipping's the
to
thing that
tell you
gets you.
guys, like, yeah, the shipping would get you. But I mean, honestly, like my goats jump on my solar panels. They run around like they're tough. Okay, I mean the panels themselves are crazy tough. You'd be surprised if you've never dealt with them. Um, so
So what
it
all
takes a
animals
lot
do
to
you
mess them
guys
up.
have? That's something I'm interested in. I know it has nothing to do with solar, but this is DIY solar will make it a little bit of self-reliance. I have chickens, but
Okay.
Go ahead,
Eric, you
Adam.
seem to have the most, I think.
Oh, yeah, man. We got a small herd of goats. We've got chickens. We've got rabbits. We've got a big old 200-pound Great Pyrenees. We've done quail. We've got guineas. We've got a beta fish. It's the latest to the family, and the cat disappeared recently. So yeah, that's about it.
yeah, I guess I do have a lab too. I didn't even think of. Yeah, I left him out. I
Yeah.
guess.
So we have, I think the current running count is 5 cats, 5 ducks, that we egg laying ducks that we get eggs from them.
Mhm.
As we're doing this coop project, once the coop gets rebuilt, we're going to add egg laying chickens. We do meat birds a couple times a year. We've got a horse out back, and then
Screens went crazy back
Great
there.
Dane St. Bernard Bull Mastiff mix dog.
Nice.
Turn my TV screen off behind me there. It went crazy. I guess it didn't like sitting there that long.
I guess not. Yeah.
All right,
I
let's
know
see. We
that
might have a few
at
more
some point we were
questions.
looking to get more animals, but we
Goats and
need more property
donkeys.
for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I had more room, I would definitely do that. But maybe in the future we can get some actual
Mm-hmm.
land. Let's see. I know we probably missed some questions on here. Let me scroll back up.
Yeah, Unky Joe's, man, that's kind of where I'm at too. Got some panels leaning up on the fence. That's it works. I have had
Yeah.
them blow over twice in the past couple of storms we've had here in Texas. One was a hurricane, so that's kind of what it is. Um, Other than that, they've just been sitting there.
But yeah, if you've got the panels, lean them up against the fence. Why have them sitting in the stack?
Yep.
I had some of mine laying on the ground for a while, 10 of them, and just had them plugged up, and it worked.
Yep.
Don't recommend it,
That's
but
my
it
other
did,
array.
it did work.
No.
Brandon Carter says, I'm looking for a longer size bus bar for 280 amp hour cells when put in a 48 volt configuration. Anyone have a link?
Rodney, this is your stream, man.
Yeah, I haven't really built batteries with 280 amp hour cells, so I'm not really the bus bar per. Maybe I don't know if Current Connected has that or not. I mean, they may have some bus bars. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know that they have. At least they used to sell some DIY cells. Another place, 18650store.com. They sell a lot of the DIY cells. I got stickers that I got to put up on battery hookup might have some of those as well.
So hopefully that helps you out, Brandon. Let's see what else we got on here. See a lot of commenting, but not a ton more questions. Let's see. I got one more
Oh,
for
there
you.
you go. Copper pipe. You make your own bus bars. Yeah,
Yep.
that's an option.
Yep, that's a good one there. Do you guys think having an EV is a good place? Do you think EVs are good basically for self-reliance, or do you think they're just kind of for people that are not preparedness minded?
I can take this for a second. So I'm really intrigued by EVs. The thing is, I don't drive anywhere. I work from home. When I'm not working, I'm homesteading or I'm working on my solar setup or playing with stuff over there, um, and then I've got a big family like Rodney. Not as big as Rodney's family, but I've got 4 boys, and they don't really make EVs for the whole family that I'm aware of. I mean, we might be able to squeeze into something if there's a third row, but I mean, we need a big vehicle, and so it's tough to get a family vehicle that's an EV. Hopefully, at some point, Ford will bring back the Excursion and make it an electric
Yeah.
option. That would be awesome, but I don't see that ever happening. I guess maybe we could do a trailer. I don't know. But yeah, I love the idea. I think it'd be really cool. The being able to plug into the sun basically and have infinite power. I went with a DeWalt lawnmower 4 or 5 years ago, and I've never turned back. We have here on the property probably between my dad and I, we probably have 15 chainsaws, and my favorite are the electric. I mean, we've got some chainsaws with 3-foot bars on them, and then all the way down. But it's like it's the electric chainsaws are my favorite. That my electric weed eater is infinitely better than the gas one that I've never even attempted to repair. So, an electric vehicle definitely has my attention. I just don't know that it's practical for me right now. Um, and then I am also a bit concerned with I've been seeing some privacy concerns with loopholes and how your data can be given away, all the footage, all sorts of stuff that really concerns me. And I think until there's some safeguards put in place, we've got to, maybe we need to be putting pressure on our government officials to try to uh, patch some of those loopholes. But that's kind of where I'm at. I love the idea. I think buying like an electric bike or something just to get around and to always, or an electric golf cart, or something like that would just be awesome out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys?
Yeah, from my from my aspect, I'm intrigued with the idea. Um, where I live in the country, there's not a whole lot of places that I could go to charge one of those things for the distance that I would have to drive. And honestly, I mean, I would love to be able to just plug it in to the house and have it charged from the solar, but I got to cover my normal loads first before I look at pulling the trigger on something like that.
Oh yeah.
My wife's okay with the power in the house from solar, but if I'm having to buy something that big when we can't even fully cover the house loads yet, you got to work on that a little bit. But
Yeah.
well, we are going on a family trip next year, and I kind of decided that the next time we went somewhere, the next car I wanted to try out was some kind of an electric car, just to
Mm.
see, how does it work? How does it last? What's the driving like? Because everybody talks about, how the instant torque and, not having to worry about pulling into that gas station and all that kind of stuff. So I figure, well, the next time I go on vacation someplace, and we have to rent a car, let's try one of those and, see what all the fuss is about and
Yeah.
see what it's like.
Well, for me, it was I was driving back and forth to work, and I had like a 2021, I think, Ram 2500, and it was costing me
Mm-hmm.
more to put gas in that bad boy than it did for
Oh
me to
yeah.
go buy an EV. So
Mm-hmm.
that it was just about my money, saving my money, and I like technology, and I got solar, and I figured I could charge it at home. So I said,
Yeah.
at least 90% of the time I charge it off of solar. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just better for me. We do have a 12 passenger van, an 8 passenger van. They all run on gas,
Mm-hmm.
of course. So
Yep. Yep.
for my family, that we if we were all riding together, we definitely ain't driving in my little car. But it would be nice to have one that did. But those things are probably ridiculously
Right.
expensive if they even make it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
remind
I don't think
everybody
they
what
do.
kind of car you have, Rodney.
I have a 2019 Nissan Leaf. So it was basically one of the most inexpensive ones I could get that seemed to be decent for what I needed. It's got like a 150-mile range. I would say it's probably like 125 miles. So it gets me back and forth to work, no problem. Back and forth to town, pretty much within an hour of my house. I'm not going much further than that, so you know,
Mm.
it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm really interested in on the EV front is getting some of these. Was it Edison Automotive or Edison Trucks or whatever it is? They're doing the battery powered electric trucks, but they're putting small diesel engines in the under the hood that charge the batteries as they go. So they're putting basically Caterpillar engines in them that are just incredibly efficient. And then they've just started doing conversion kits for like 1999 trucks and older, um, which I'm like, okay, I drive a 1999, 7.3 diesel, but before I yank the motor out of that, I'm going to be selling to somebody who's a fanatic about it because everybody loves those trucks. Not everybody. I get that. But yeah, I see that as being a future for sure.
All right, let's see. Looks like we might have some more. Do you think hybrid? Chris says, do you think hybrid inverter self-consumption is worth it without interconnect agreement? Want to cover critical loads, but would like to have extra PV. Go back to the main panel, so supplement grid. I mean, I think it's worth it myself. I mean, that's how I did my parents. I mean, they don't have an interconnect agreement. They're basically just feeding back into the main panel whenever they have PV and running their loads. Because they use so much power, they would never sell back to the grid. They have to cover their whole property with solar panels. They use a ton of power over there, and it
Mm-hmm.
works for them, it seems.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you kind of have to decide, because some of these inverters, there's always that potential that you could accidentally have some power going back, but a lot of these inverters have that built-in buffer that will pull power from the grid and kind of keep it's almost like a shadow load, so that it always has power coming from the grid and not pushing back up to the grid. I know some of them have variable settings to where you can decide at what level you feel comfortable, pull 10 watts, pull 50 watts, pull 100 watts. Um, some of them, I would love to know how some of the inverters do it that say that they don't have to pull that load. Um,
Hmm.
it's a lot of that's just over my head. But I mean, if you want to be able to push power back up to that utility panel, then you have to weigh it for yourself. Is it worth it?
Eric, anything on that or?
No, I don't really have much to put in that.
All right, let's see what else we got. Robert says, please explain 12-volt panels versus 24-volt panels. Which is better choice, and can they be used in series or parallel with 12-volt panels? Please. I think you're saying. I mean, a lot of companies are putting stuff out and saying something's a 12-volt panel, something's a 24-volt panel. I mean, you can just connect them together and you get whatever voltage range your inverter is going to work
Mm-hmm.
with. So will one panel go directly to a battery? Possibly, if it's the right voltage, but I don't recommend doing that at all. I mean, you need a charge controller or you need an inverter with it all built in. So
Yeah.
it just depends on
Yeah,
exactly what you're
Robert.
talking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you came in a little bit later. And go back, or don't go back, but search Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever, for Victron's. Gosh, I forgot what it was called. Oh, Wiring Unlimited. Search for Wiring Unlimited and go through the information they have in that PDF on the solar panels. It'll give you a really great understanding of that. That'll do better than we could explain over this little live stream here. So check
I'll
it
go
out.
ahead and put the link
I
back
think it'll
on
help
there.
out a lot. Cool.
At least I'll try to put the link
Uh,
down on
but
here.
but I think the overall thing is like the voltage 12 volt versus 24 volt doesn't really make a difference on the panel side of things. It's going to make a big difference on the battery side. And I think all of us here use 48-volt systems. Adam, is that right with you?
Correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we all use 48 volts, and the difference between it, one of the big advantages to higher voltages is that you can use smaller cables. So because of that, you end up spending an awful lot less on wiring in between batteries and all of your wiring. So that's helpful.
All right. We'll see if
Yeah,
that
the
that
higher
link
the
works.
voltage goes up, the less current you end up using.
So, and whenever we connect all of our panels together, it's, oftentimes we'll have 400 watt or 400 volts going through, our wire from our solar panels to our inverters. So the voltage, there's a range, 150 to 450 or something like that. It just kind of depends on your inverter.
Okay, Mike's got another question. Would you guys rather have a solar array 250 feet away that gets sun all day long, or one that's shaded for parts of the day 50 foot away? I'd go 250 feet away myself if it's going to be in the sun
All
all
day
day.
long.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. If you start going a little farther than probably 300 feet, you're going to potentially have some voltage drop. I mean, it depends on how large your wire is, but um, at 250 feet, 10 gauge. just regular PV wire, you should be okay. I'm not an expert. That's my opinion. Check with the experts on that before you do it.
And I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that's what it says. Like less than 300 foot, I think you should be fine. Or you have to use 8 gauge. I think if it's further than that.
Yeah, when I was going through calculating out my panel distance and my voltage that I was going to use, I actually found Southwire puts out a voltage drop app. And so you can punch
Gosh, that would
in
be helpful.
the voltage that you have, the current that you want, and how far away it is, and it'll calculate what the voltage drop is and what tell you, oh yeah, you need
Nice.
to use 10 gauge, you need to use 8 gauge. And so that worked out really well for me. I know I have an iOS, an Apple device. I'm sure Southwire has one for Android as well, but that was an invaluable app in figuring out cable length, distances, how many panels did I have to have at a minimum just to not have that voltage drop.
And
man, that's awesome.
Unc Joe's
Downloading
Playhouse
now.
says higher the voltage, the more efficient. Am I wrong in that? Well, if you're talking, I guess you're talking about PV. I mean, usually the higher voltage, the less you're gonna have to bring in with amps a lot of times, depending on if you're how your setup is. So I'm not sure if that's what you mean, or you're talking about series versus parallel, or just talking about in general if it's higher. So
See, the
I'm not
efficiency
absolutely
really
sure
is
what
going
the
to
question
play in
exactly
when you
was,
have
but
the inverter or the charge controller, isn't it? How does it handle the conversion from whatever voltage you have down to your battery level voltage?
so if you have like the 18K PV or something that takes 600 watts or whatever it is, I mean 600 volts, you want to be higher in my opinion, because that means you have more panels hooked up, and to me it's gonna be more efficient, because it's gonna be smaller line, not gonna have as much loss, in my opinion. But I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy that does this sometimes.
Yeah, none of us are.
Yeah. And off-grid trucker, he's got a 48 volts. He's got a multi plus 2 for sale. We talked earlier about things that we wouldn't necessarily buy used. If I was gonna buy an inverter used, a multi plus, that might be one I would look at. So just throwing that out there.
And Mike said thanks. Hey, thank you for supporting us and coming out here and watching. We definitely appreciate it. Hey, and if you guys haven't subscribed to these guys' channels, I did put it in a link at the top, and I'll try to put it on. Actually, I think it's down in the description. You can go down there and subscribe to their channels. Eric from East Texas Homestead, and Adam from Adam Delay, his YouTube channel. So just don't forget to subscribe, because they put out a lot of good content. So hook it up, subscribe. Anybody else got any questions? Hey, we've been on here for an hour and about 38 minutes. I don't know how long these guys want to stay in here. I'm good for however long, but if you guys have to go, that is cool. You just let me know.
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'd say by 9, I'll probably need to start shutting things down.
All right.
Yeah, probably next 20 minutes. I think I got to go eat dinner.
we're holding him up. Oh man. I'm trying to see if I can find some more questions that we may have missed. Let's see. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions. What do you guys got? Any other topics you want to bring up? Because I pretty much went through all my questions I had on my phone, so now we're just winging it.
Yeah. What is your most popular video?
Oh man.
You're gonna make me look it up, aren't you?
For solar stuff, it's probably the first mini split I installed. So I think I got about maybe
Okay.
75,000 views on that one. I got a fishing one that's probably got more than 100,000, but uh, I don't
Nice.
know. That one might have
Nice.
100,000. I don't know. Maybe I got them backwards, but it's either fishing or that mini split.
I think my
I know
most,
I know you got some that's got a ton of views. So
yeah, what's yours, Eric?
Man, so my very first video I put out, I think it's got a little over 500,000. Not my very first, the very first one that went
yeah,
wild. It's also my most embarrassing. It was just, it's. I go back and I look at it. It's terrible. Oh man, all of my videos when I go back and look at them are slightly embarrassing to be honest. But yeah, that one took off and did pretty good. It's most of my stuff that's done well has been around propane heat, the Mr. Heater, Big Buddy series or the Buddy series. I just put one out on the Starlink Mini that's doing really well right now. Um, but yeah, it's I guess it's the Mr. Heater stuff.
Okay.
and I watched that one. That so
Did you?
I have seen it
Yeah.
because I think
I,
I thought I was like maybe you had I don't know I thought it was like 600,000 views or 700,000. I was like, man, he's got a bunch of views on
I've,
this
I've
thing.
got some like that, yeah, on like how to refill a propane tank or the little green bottles and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
3/4 mil or something like that. There's a few of them up there.
man, mine feels like small potatoes compared to you guys.
No, most of
I think,
mine are nowhere near that. So
yeah,
my
you
channel's way
you tend to
smaller than
find
y'all.
that
So
one or two. I think mine
Yeah.
is close to 60,000 views, and it's the one where I found out that the EG4 6500s kicked voltage back onto the solar panel frames, and you need to ground the panel frames.
Ah,
So
yeah.
anytime you have a potential for electrocuting yourself, apparently it
it does
creates a lot
work.
of
Takes
views.
off. If only you had actually shocked yourself, then it would have been, it'd be at 3 million.
Yeah,
Uh,
you gotta be like that electro
that's
buzz
awesome, man.
guy.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
just looked
familiar with
back.
that one.
I got one that has 103,000 views, and it's about a $400 John boat. Because my channel started out as
Nice.
fishing, so
Yeah.
and it's like something I did in like 30 seconds, and it's terrible. I'm like, man, why did this video do so good? And it's terrible. But that's how it is on YouTube. Sometimes you spend a lot of time on a video thinking this thing's gonna do great. Nobody watches it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Got a lot of
You spend
those.
5 minutes on something that does good. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah. 65 views 6 years later. Yeah. So are we worried about supply issues with equipment?
I'm worried about the tariffs with the solar panel prices going up by the end of the year. So I will definitely get your panels at least before the end of the year. I'm not sure if other equipment's
Hmm.
involved in that, but I know the solar panels for sure. Trump and Biden both
Yeah.
did tariffs that's going to go into effect at the same time, I think.
Hmm.
Not helping us out.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if the world stage has some major events, that can definitely cause issues. So, but outside of that, I don't see things slowing down. I mean, the countries that are exporting a lot of this stuff to us need us, quite frankly, and we need their stuff. So that's kind of how it's been working for a while, and um, I think as long as things stay calm, it'll be all right. That's a big if.
And Jetfire had a question. Where do you guys buy most of your equipment from? I get most of my stuff from Signature Solar. I have got some stuff from Current Connected before.
Mhm.
It just depends on exactly what I need and who has it, really.
Jetfire says he's an EG4 fanboy. What do we think? I mean, I use the equipment. I like it. I definitely have been vocal about issues that I've had. I think their customer service has gotten a lot better. Don't expect a phone call back. I'll say that. Um,
Well, I will
just
say the other day I accidentally called the regular customer service line, and about 5 minutes later they called me back. I was trying to
hey,
call.
like I
I
said,
was
they're
trying to
getting
call.
better.
I was
They're
trying to
getting
call
Yeah,
my
they're
better.
getting
rep. So
better.
I think they are getting better.
But guys, if so, for those of y'all who don't know, I mean, Signature Solar basically started out of a dude's garage not that long ago. And um, when I went and picked up my first set of inverters 3 years ago, or however long it was, I mean, they were in this pretty large building that they had just moved into. And they had, I think, 60 employees. And when I went and picked up um, my last set of inverters, the 6000 XPs, I think they've got like 400, 500 employees, something like that. And they'd gotten rid of that building or sold that one to EG4. Yeah, EG4. And then they moved on to two more whatever it was. It's crazy. They're growing so fast because they're putting out like great value products. Let me put it that way. Let me put it, how do we say? It's a really good value product line, right? I mean, it's not the high end stuff. It's not going to last you forever, but for the price, it seems to do a really good job. Their old yellow units, I think all of us have had issues with some of those, the 6500s and the 6000 EXs. And I think it was a good thing for them. Yeah, those 6000s. Um, they, I think it was a good deal for them to go ahead and replace them and start moving on with this Lux Power stuff. So, but yeah, good company. They've got huge growing pains, and as a business owner myself, I know that growing pains are a real problem.
Adam.
What was the question?
Who do you use
EG4
to buy your
fanboy.
equipment?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, who do you buy equipment from, basically, most of the time?
um,
Oh, there's that.
I mean, a lot of the times it ends up boiling down to where can I find the best deal?
Mhm.
You know what you want, so you end up shopping around. I mean, I've bought things in the past from Signature Solar, not so much recently. I've bought things from Current Connected. I've bought lots of stuff on Amazon. Um,
Mhm.
it all depends on, are you buying it from somebody who's going to pick up that phone if you have a problem? I mean, we're DIY guys. If we have to pick up the phone and call somebody, it's because we've gone through all the steps to try to figure out what's going on, and we can't figure it out. We don't just pick up the phone without doing our own due diligence. And so we really want somebody to
Mhm.
answer that call and be able to help
Yeah.
us out. So if I buy something on Amazon, well, I know I'm not getting any support from there. So it's
Mhm.
I know that I'm supporting myself from that standpoint. But I want to buy from someplace that they're going to pick up the phone and help me out. Um, like I said, I haven't bought anything from Signature Solar in a while. Um, I had problems with a handful of problems in the past, and so I've been looking elsewhere. But I have noticed, because I've looked at the forums, I see the presence. I've seen the responses, the comments from folks. It's not the same Signature Solar that it was when I had the problems in the past,
Mhm.
and I can see that in the way that they're working with customers and trying to get things. I mean, I can't seem to be able to answer a thread on the DIY Solar forum before somebody from Signature Solar or EG4 is jumping in to comment on it. So, I mean, they had growing pains, and they are working on making those changes.
Oh yeah.
And like Eric said, boy, they really did a good job in switching to the Lux Power model.
Mhm.
Um, it's night and day compared to what I had in the past.
And it looks
Mhm.
like BY has a question, and I figured out how to put the questions on the screen, but I'm gonna have to change the
Hey.
There we
text so you can
go.
read a little better. Any good ways to be prepared for solar panels in a possible hailstorm? Any way to prepare them? I've had hail here a couple of times in the last 2 months. I didn't do anything to mine. I mean, because it just came out of nowhere, so
Mhm.
they just survived. So I think most of them are pretty hardy. So
Yeah, I think you've got to have some massive hail to damage it. Like I said, we've got, not the best setup as far as my panels laying on the ground, and my goats, their trail to get where they want to go when I'm bringing them in from the pasture is they don't want to go through the wet area, so they go over the panels, and by over them I mean they run across the panels, and they're fine.
Yeah, I think we had a hailstorm um, a few months back, and we might have had some half-inch hail pelting the panels. And I went out and checked them, and there were no issues. I mean, you start getting golf ball size, while you're probably more worried about your car windows than your solar panels.
Yeah, I've had golf ball size hail that's done damage to my vehicles, but the panels are still fine. So I'm thinking baseball size. You start getting up in that size, and then you're gonna have issues. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not.
Probably depends.
Yeah,
on the
blown down into the
angle and
rocky driveway
so.
and survived. Yeah, I agree. I had that same thing with the hurricane. They blew off the fence and just pushed them back up. Don't recommend it. Yep, same.
All right. Solar Gloater asks, I guess let me put it on the screen again. Look, I'm still learning all this stuff with the live streaming, y'all. So y'all got to give me a break. Now I lost the question here. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, it's scrolling away from me. There it goes. Recommendations for a true low frequency inverter.
Low frequency. Victron. No, yeah, that's the only other experience I have. I built a Victron setup once, and I really liked it. Complicated, not nearly as easy, but doable.
That was like a stretch.
Yeah, the multi-plus 2s that I have are low frequency, and I mean they've got a hum when you start getting towards the top end of their output, but I haven't had anything that's been able to handle surges like those have.
I'm still huge.
Eric moved. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yep.
Hold on a minute. Oh my goodness, I'm moving them all around. See, this is why I shouldn't have started messing with anything. I accidentally clicked on that instead of the comments, and I got them all moved over. I'll get you moved back here in a minute. Oh my goodness. Let me see here. Y'all talk amongst yourselves while I'm trying to fix this. Or what time is it? 9:52. These guys are probably about ready to go anyway. Let me see if I can get him on the top. Hold on a minute. I still can't move. Look, people, I'm trying to figure this out.
I'm there. I've got
You're still there.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Oh my goodness. But hey, I like to thank these guys for coming on my channel to help me out with this live stream, answering some questions. You know, I definitely got to learn a lot of stuff about them. I'm definitely glad they came on. And it looked like we got quite a few people on here on the live stream from our first live stream. You know, still 40-some people watching. I definitely appreciate you for watching. Hey, go check these guys' channels out. I got it linked up down in the description. Subscribe to their channels. I'll go ahead and let them say a few words if they want to end this off.
No, I'll take this one real quick. I just want to thank you, Rodney, for setting this all up. I'm glad you're the one clicking the buttons and not me.
Yeah, some reason I can't get anything to move now.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll just say that it's late and it's ready to be done too. But
yeah,
you know, solar's fun. I mean, if you haven't gotten into it, if you've been sitting on the fence waiting, trying to decide, should I get into it, should I not? Like Eric said earlier, get something small. Power one load. Take that refrigerator and power that fridge for a little while, and then just look at your electric bill after doing just the fridge, and you'll see that, boy, this could be worth it. This could really help out. I mean, there's a lot of loads that you don't think of that are constantly drawing power. I mean, your internet hardware, that stuff adds up. So, you know, just start with something.
I got
oh my goodness, I messed the whole thing up now. I don't have anybody on here. Hey, so now what I think is happening is I'm playing back like what happened earlier. I have no idea how that happened. Now y'all not even on there live. My goodness. All right, let me
Uh,
go back to me because at least I'm live. I have no
There we
idea what
go. That
happened, people.
works.
I have no idea what happened. But Eric, you got anything before I get off of this thing before I mess anything
yeah,
up?
yeah, man, Rodney, I just want to thank you as well. Appreciate you putting this back together. You know, I'm still not there. Um,
Oh my God, now nobody's there.
it's so
I have
funny.
no idea what happened.
Hey, my name's there. It's all good. We'll just look at you. You can just smile. Um, so, uh, thanks for putting this together and utilizing this incredible Ecamm Live to make it work. But yeah, we no some I want to say, and I told you this in an email, man. I think there's so much scarcity mindset run just going around all over the place where people think, oh, he's my competition over there, or I can't talk to Adam or Gavin or Rodney or anybody because like I'm trying to get the links and whatever it is, or I want my videos to succeed. But
Yeah.
that's not what it's about. We're honestly, we really are doing this because number one, it's kind of an addiction and it's really hard to stop. you know,
I think I figured it out.
you know, did you? Did you?
There you
Okay. Hey,
go.
that's me.
Close
Listen, I
enough.
got
There
you
we
on
go.
there.
All right. Nice. So yeah, like we really do love doing this. Like there's, I keep, I'll tell people all the time, like, man, I think in another life, or if I was to redo everything over again, I'd probably go back and be an electrician, cause like, I just love like wiring stuff up. It's fun because it's like a choose your own path like adventure where you have the inverters and you have the like all the different components, and your job is to figure out how you want to route it all together. And there is a right and a wrong way to do it, but it's also there's a lot of flexibility. And so every time I've ever rewired it, it's always been a little bit different, and I get better every time. And it's actually just like really fun. So we do this because we enjoy it. But we also, I want to put a shameless plug out there that just like we also do put links in the description, and we do receive products um, to review, and we do make some money on it, and that helps us continue on because I think a lot of us, if there wasn't some sort of incentive, we wouldn't be able to keep going at the rate we're going. We want to make it to where we're actually putting out more and more and more content. But it has to be worth it for our families, for our wives, for our kids to say, yeah, go spend the time out there. So I just want to say, if you guys are going to buy stuff, use the links that we put out in our videos. It really does help us, like more than you know. And like definitely like if you're a Rodney guy, don't feel like you've got to come over to me or to Adams, um, to use our links. Like stick with Rodney. That so that's I'm not trying to mooch or anything like that. So I didn't want to say that, but yeah. Um, but no, I'm just looking at myself here. I'm getting distracted. But yeah, so I'm Eric from East Texas Homestead. I basically want to help people to live securely and freely, and be live faithfully and securely for good times or bad. And check me out if that's something you're interested in. Off to Rodney. There you are.
All right. I definitely appreciate these guys. I appreciate everybody watching. It's been fun, and we'll definitely have to do this again. And thanks again. We're out.